Katherine from Katherine Learn Stuff. Today I'm going to walk you through how to make these cute little lined pouches. These are great for gift bags or for storing little things or for purses for your kids, whatever your heart desires. So let's jump over to our workstations and get this project started. For this bag, I'm going to be using a 12 by 9 sheet of fabric in two different colors. I've got a red sort of chevrons and I've got just a red backing. You can use a different size for the fabric that you'd like. The bigger you use, the bigger the bag. The smaller you use, the smaller the bag. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I've got the fabric facing inwards, and I'm just going to run a stitch along both sides. Alright, so I've quickly sewn in a stitch on both sides here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of flip this open, sort of, like so, and I'm going to align this in the center. Now, if you like, you can iron this down, or leave it the way that it is. The choice is yours. It's kind of going to be hidden inside anyways. But you want to make sure that you're lining this side and this side up, and so in order to keep this sort of straight, I'm just going to use my pins here to hold this. In place. Alright, so what I'm going to do on this colored pattern side is going to be the outside of my bag, and so I'm going to line this up here on my inch marker, and I'm going to measure off a 1/2 inch on this side and a 1/2 inch on this side, and I'm going to give myself you can give yourself an inch gap or a 1/2 inch gap depending on how large you want your gap to be. I'm going to give myself a 1/2 inch gap for my string. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew along the bottom of along the edges of my bag here. I'm not going to sew in this spot or in this spot, and I'm also going to sew along the edges on this side and this side. I'm going to leave myself a gap here, maybe at the bottom, so that I can flip this inside out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew these lines, and I'll be right back. Now that I've got my bag sewn, all I need to do is flip this inside out. I'm going to flip this through this area here so that I've got the bag ready to go. Now I'm going to quickly just sew this little edge in here with my sewing machine. Now since it's going to be hidden inside the bag, I can just use my sewing machine. Otherwise I'd want to do this by hand and have a little hidden thread there. But first I'm going to iron this out so that it looks nice and I've got the ability to actually fold this in place. So bear with me as I iron this out for one moment. So now that I've ironed my bag out, I'm just going to quickly sew this edge in here so that nothing falls through the bag. Now that my bag is sewn here in the hole, I'm just going to flip this in so that my liner bit is inside the bag. And I'm going to quickly just iron this so that this is all lined up nicely like it's supposed to be, so that the liner is hidden inside the bag. Now that my edges are all lined up, I have a few options. I can finish the bag off like this with just leaving the openings for my string and pull my string through, or I can actually sew in additional lines into my design here. I'm going to sew a stitch across the top and the bottom through the bag so that I've got a nice defined line for my string to go through. And the last thing that we need to do is pull our string through. Now if you've got a safety pin, you can use a safety pin. I've got a paper clip because I've run out of safety pins for some reason. So I'm just going to simply pull this through and pull it through my hole. Now I'm going to do 2 strings. Now since I'm doing 2 strings, the second time I go through on the other side, I'm going to pull my second string on it to make one less pull through. other side as well. Then release the first string and then go through with the other one again. Now on each side I've got a string to pull. And there's my bag ready. And there you have it. We've successfully made our lined pouches. I hope you've enjoyed this craft as much as I have. If you've tried it out, let me know how it turned out for you, and if you've got any suggestions on how to make this better. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy crafting!